Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to understand and describe the period of the rule of the Mughal Empire. Describe how the Mughal rulers took control of the vast empire and brought about socio-economic, cultural, political, and changes in religion. Understand and learn about the various administrative changes that helped them gain control till the end of the 17th century. Who were the Mughals? Mughals were the successors of two great royal lineages. The Timurid lineage. Temur, the ruler of Iran, Iraq, and present-day Turkey, died in 1404. From their father's side, and the Mongol Genghis Khan, ruler of Mongol tribes, China and Central Asia, died 1227 from their mother's side. Timur's son Miran was the great-great-grandfather of Babur, the founder and first emperor of the Mughal Empire. The Mughals took pride in their Timurid ancestry, especially because they had captured Delhi in 1398. Each Mughal ruler celebrated his ancestry by getting a picture made of him with King Timur. Babur ascended the throne of Ferghana in 1494 at the age of 12. An attack by a Mongol group, the Uzbeks, forced Babur to leave his ancestral house. After many years, he succeeded in capturing Kabul in 1504. Mughal military campaigns. In 1526, Babur seized Delhi and Agra after defeating Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan of Delhi, at Panipat, and became the first Mughal emperor, 1526 to 1530. A long-time pattern observed in major Mughal campaigns is that the Afghans were always a threat to the Mughal supremacy. The relationship between the Mughals and the Ahoms, the Sikhs, and Mewar and Marwar developed after some strife in the later years. Humayun, Akbar, and Shah Jahan, each one had a different relationship with the Safavid Shahs of Iran. Humayun got help from a Safavid Shah, while Akbar seized Kandahar from the Safavids. Shah Jahan lost Kandahar to the Safavids. Campaigns against the Deccan began during Akbar's reign, but Aurangzeb annexed Golconda in 1685 and Bijapur in 1687. He had to face resultant hostilities in the Deccan. An important feature of the 16th century warfare was the introduction of cannons. Babur used them effectively against Lodi in the First Battle of Panipat. Mughal Emperors Babur and Humayun. Babur, 1526 to 1530. 1526. The Afghan king Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur at Panipat. 1527. Rana Sanga, the Rajput rulers and Afghans in alliance with him, were defeated at Kanua. 1528. Defeated Rajputs at Chanderi, took control of Agra and Delhi region before he died. Humayun, 1530 to 1540. 1555 to 1556. Honoring his father's will, Humayun divided his inheritance amongst his brothers. Each one was given a province. Hostilities from brother Mirza Kamran weakened Humayun's cause against his Afghan adversaries. Defeat by Sher Khan at Chausa, 1539, and Kannauj, 1540, forced him to take refuge in Iran. With the help of Safavid Shah in Iran, Humayun re-established his rule in Delhi in 1555, but had an accidental death the next year. Mughal Emperors Akbar, 1556 to 1605. Akbar ascended the throne at the age of 13, 1556 to 1570. Akbar dismissed his guardian and important military commander Behram Khan along with a lot of domestic staff. He launched military campaigns against the Suris, other Afghans, kingdoms of Malwa and Gondwana. He crushed rebellion by his half-brother Mirza Hakim and the Uzbegs. 1568. Captured the Sisodia capital of Chittor. 1569. Captured Ranthambore. 1570 to 1585. Captured areas of Gujarat, Bengal and Orissa through military campaigns. 1579 to 1580. Revolt by Mirza Hakim's supporters complicated the military campaigns. 1585 to 1605. Under expansionist policies, Akbar launched military campaigns in northwest, recaptured Kandahar from the Safavids, annexed Kashmir, and also Kabul after Mirza Hakim died. Campaigns in Deccan brought Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar under Mughal control. In the last years of his reign, frequent rebellion by Prince Salim, the future Emperor Jahangir, troubled Akbar a lot. Mughal Emperors Jahangir and Shah Jahan. Jahangir 1605 to 1627. Jahangir carried forward the military campaigns started by Akbar. Amar Singh, the Sisodia ruler of Mewar, accepted Mughal suzerainty. Campaigns against the Sikhs, the Ahoms and Ahmednagar followed were not as successful. Prince Khurram, Emperor Shah Jahan later on, rebelled against his father in his later years. Noor Jahan, Jahangir's wife, made unsuccessful attempts at marginalizing Prince Khurram. Shah Jahan 1627 to 1658. Shah Jahan carried on with the Mughal campaigns of conquest in the Deccan. Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi's revolt against the emperor was quelled. Made attempts to annex Ahmednagar. The Bundelas were vanquished and Orcha was taken over. All endeavors to capture Balkh from Uzbegs in the northwest remained unsuccessful. Kandahar was lost to the Safavids. 1632. Ahmednagar finally came under Mughal control. 1657 to 1658. Shah Jahan's sons confronted each other over the issue of succession. Aurangzeb killed his three rival brothers and ascended the throne. Shah Jahan was confined to prison for the rest of his life in Agra. Mughal Emperors Aurangzeb 1658 to 1707. 1663. Aurangzeb defeated the Ahoms in the northeast, but they rose in rebellion again in 1680s. Success in military campaigns in the northwest against the Yusufzai and the Sikhs was short-lived. Rathore Rajputs of Marwar resented Aurangzeb's interference in the matters of succession and internal politics and rose in rebellion against him. Initially, Aurangzeb's forces could defeat Maratha chieftain Shivaji's army. Humiliated at the hands of Aurangzeb, Shivaji escaped from Agra, declared his independence and resumed anti-Mughal campaigns. Support from the Marathas and the Deccan Sultan encouraged Prince Akbar to rebel against Aurangzeb. To counter Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies to fight the Deccan Sultans. 1685. Bijapur was annexed. 1687. Golconda conquered. 1698 onwards, Aurangzeb took charge of the Deccan campaigns against the guerrilla warfare by the Marathas. Aurangzeb had to conquer rebellion from the Sikhs, Jats and Satnamis in the north, Ahoms in the northeast and the Marathas in the Deccan. Following Aurangzeb's death, his sons competed with each other to occupy the throne. Mughal traditions and relations. The increasing power of the Mughals encouraged many rulers to join them by choice. Many Rajput families got into matrimonial alliances with the Mughal families. In return, they secured high positions. Jahangir's mother, a Kachwaha princess, was the daughter of a Rajput ruler of Amber, Jaipur. Shah Jahan's mother, a Rathore princess, was the daughter of a Rajput ruler of Marwar, Jodhpur. However, the Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar resisted subjugation to the Mughals and were constantly at war with the Mughals. They were given due regards and also returned their lands, Watan, as assignments, Watan Jagir. The practice of defeating but not humiliating the opponent helped the Mughals expand their influence over many kings and chieftains. Contrary to the Mughal practice, Aurangzeb humiliated Shivaji when he arrived to accept Mughal authority. Hence, Shivaji rebelled and gained his independence. Mansabdars and Jagirdars. As the Mughal rule expanded, they recruited Turkish nobles, Turanis, Iranians, Indian Muslims, Afghans, Rajputs, Marathas, and others in their services as Mansabdars. Mansabdari was a grading system to determine the rank, salary, and military responsibilities of a Mansabdar. Zat, a numeric value, defined the rank and salary of a Mansabdar. Higher Zat meant higher rank, status, and larger salary of the noble in the court. Each Mansabdar had to maintain a specific number of Savars or cavalrymen. After fulfilling the condition of getting his cavalrymen registered and horses branded, he would get money to pay their salary. A Mansabdar's salary was the revenue he earned from Jagirs. Jagirs were similar to Ikats. Like Muktis, Mansabdars neither resided nor administered the Jagirs. Their rights were reserved only to revenue collection. Their servants collected revenue, while they ruled in some other part of the kingdom. Akbar's reign. There were 29 Mansabdars with a rank of 5,000 Zat. Jagirs were assessed to ensure that revenues from Jagirs equaled the salary of a Mansabdar. Aurangzeb's reign. The revenue yield from a Jagir would often be far less than the granted sum. It led Jagirdars to collect maximum possible revenue while they owned a Jagir. Aurangzeb's inability to control this exploitation in the last years of his reign caused a lot of suffering to the peasants. Zabt and Zamindars. Taxes on agricultural produce were the major source of income for the Mughal emperors. The local headmen of the villages or zamindars, the powerful chieftains, were responsible for the collection of taxes from the peasants. Todar Mal, Akbar's revenue minister, evaluated crop yield, areas cultivated and prices for a period of 10 years, 1570 to 1580. Based on this data, tax on each crop was fixed in cash. Under the Mughal revenue system called Zabt, each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates for individual crops. Provinces like Gujarat and Bengal were not brought under the Zabt system as the Mughals were not as powerful in these regions. Exploitation by Mughal administrators forced powerful zamindars to rebel against the Mughal authority to protect themselves and peasants of their caste. These revolts shook the stability of Mughal Empire from the end of 17th century. Akbar's policies. The third volume of Ain-e-Akbari gives a detailed account of Akbar's administration, imperial household, military services, statistical compilations about crops, yields, prices, revenues and wages, and the geography of his empire. Abul Fazl, the author, elaborates on the division of the empire into provinces called subas. A suba was governed by a subadar discharging political and military responsibilities. Each province had a financial officer called Diwan. A subadar was assisted by the military paymaster, Bakshi, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage, Sadr, military commanders, Faujdars, and the town police commander, Kotwal. While at Fatehpur Sikri in 1570s, Akbar discussed religion with the ulamas, Brahmins, Roman Catholic priests and Zoroastrians in the Ibadat Khana. From these discussions, Akbar concluded that insistence on rituals and dogmas by religious scholars unduly created division and disharmony amongst his subjects. He thus suggested Sul-i-Kul, meaning universal peace, a policy of tolerance that was not biased towards any religion. It promoted honesty, justice, interfaith tolerance and universal peace. Abul Fazl helped Akbar in framing state policies around Sul-i-Kul. The principle of Sul-i-Kul was followed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan as well. Akbar's nobles had large armies at their command, along with access to large amounts of revenue. The end of 17th century saw erosion of loyalty to the empire by the nobles, as many of them had by now developed their independent political identities. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. For the period between 14th and 17th century, starting with Babur, the Mughal Empire expanded beyond the previous boundaries. The Mughals were proud of their Timurid ancestry, one reason being their great ancestor had captured Delhi in 1398. Babur then became the first Mughal emperor, 1526 to 1530, in 1526, when he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat and captured Delhi and Agra. Many of the Rajputs married their daughters into Mughal families and received high positions. The Mughals extended their influence over many kings and chieftains by defeating yet not humiliating their opponents. The Mughals recruited Turkish nobles, Turanis, Iranians, Indian Muslims, Afghans, Rajputs, Marathas, and others as mansabdars. Each held a mansab, meaning a position or rank. Rank and salary were assigned a numerical value called zat. The higher the zat, the more prestigious was the noble's position in court and the larger his salary. Taxes on the produce of the peasantry were the main source of income for Mughal rulers. Akbar's revenue minister Todar Mal surveyed crop yields, prices and areas cultivated for the period 1570 to 1580. The tax on each crop in cash was fixed on basis of this data. A revenue system Zabt was imposed, wherein each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates for individual crops. Abul Fazl, one of Akbar's close friends and courtiers, on his orders wrote a 3-volume history of Akbar's reign titled Akbarnama. The empire was divided into provinces called Subas, governed by a Subadar having both political and military responsibilities.